Oh, man, come on, get it. Hurry. Oh, damn, what is this? What is going on? Just go back. Yeah, that's more like it. This is the Short Sports Show with your host, Daniel Short. Oh, really? That's what I'm going to get? Welcome to the Short Sports Show. I am your host, Daniel Short. Today is Wednesday, July 13th, 2016. And how did you guys like that brand new intro to the show? I hope you guys enjoyed. I like it. It's a little funny. It's a little crazy, but it's something brand new because we're going to be doing a lot of new things here at the Short Sports Show. It's just going to be a whole lot of fun. I've got new things planned out for the YouTube channel to go more in depth on that. I know I've been saying it for a while, but now I really have the opportunity to do that, and it's just needed. I need to do it. I have the time to do it, and it's just gonna be a whole lot of fun. So thank you guys for the support, of course, as always, because I'm excited for it. I'm excited for what's planned for the show. So, as always, welcome. And be sure to follow me on Twitter at Short Sports Show. I almost said the old school one. And I just want to apologize for last week's show. Apparently, I had a loose cable on the mic, which was, y'all have seen it before. If you go on the YouTube on my YouTube channel, you'll see how I have it set up. And the cable to the mic, not directly on it, but to the mixer, is what screwed everything up. I didn't know it was loose, and yeah, because I hadn't moved it, so I didn't know. But yeah, anyways, I apologize. Last week was a really great show. I really loved how everything came out, except the actual audio itself. So again, I apologize for that, but it is now all fixed. We only have, I believe you guys have about 4 more days for the Teespring t-shirts. The Short Sports Show, the Make Sports Radio Great Again t-shirts. It's a great t-shirt. You guys, go check it out. Help me reach 50 sales on Teespring. I'm so close to it. Go and get one so you guys will actually get the order next week, I believe. Pretty soon. So we only got 4 days left to order on Teespring, and then it's gone for a good amount of time. We won't have any t-shirts up until possibly, depending. I was wanting to sell a little bit more than I did. I didn't sell as many as I thought I could have. So I don't know when we will have it. I'll try to get one during the football season, but there's no guarantee. Because even though I don't, it's not like I'm paying for the t-shirts. It's definitely something that you got to put a little more effort into creating the right designs and whatnot. And if it's not working out, then it's just not going to work out. So 4 days left. Show your support if you haven't already. Buy the t-shirt. It's awesome. It's on sale. Not expensive. So that can't be an issue. But anyways, check it out on Teespring. And also, Intergrind, this had their grand opening. I wasn't able to make it. I had to do something with my father that day that came up out of nowhere. So I apologize for not being there. They did get video of it, so we will have a video of what happened if you guys weren't able to go to Intergrind, which is in Houston, Texas. They had their grand opening. He's running through this whole thing right now. It's awesome. If you follow him on Instagram and Twitter, Snapchat, I have all the links down in the description down below. And it is absolutely awesome what he's been able to do. I will have a video up hopefully by the end of this week. I got some schoolwork. Got some other things I have already planned that and already set to do for the show. But I am going to try to get it up this week so you guys can see it. But again, check it out. Here is Intergrind and Teespring. Today's show is sponsored by Intergrind. Based out of Houston, Texas, let former Texas State linebacker Michael Arakpo help you reach your fitness and nutrition goals. With plans starting at $6.99 a month, why not be a part of this rising program? Whether your goals are to lose weight, gain muscle mass, find the right off-season program, or even for you ladies out there to get that booty blast, you can do it all with Intergrind. Not in the Houston area, not a problem. Intergrind has a program that is personalized just for you. Intergrind has everything you need to meet your personal and healthy goals. NFL linebackers like Titans Brian Orakpo, Chiefs linebacker Derek Johnson, Oakland Raiders defensive back DJ Hayden. I mean, the list goes on, ladies and gentlemen. Panthers linebacker David Mayo and Buccaneers running back Charles Sims, along with many other young athletes, have already begun. Find your personalized workout and nutrition plan at intergrind.com and call 832-475-2829. Again, that's intergrind.com, 832-475-2829. Unleash your inner grind. What's up? I've got some amazing news. You can now buy the Short Sports Show apparel on Teespring. That's right. I have 2 different designs up already, and they're amazing, and I love them, and I know you guys will love them too. Hurry now, as these shirts are only up for a certain number of days, and then they're gone. My goal is to sell at least 50 of each design, and the more they sell, the longer they're available. So help me make that happen. Teespring is a platform that makes it easy for anyone to create and sell high-quality products that people love with no cost or risk. So go to www.teespring.com/stores/The Short Sports Show today, and after you make your purchase, tweet the show for a chance to be on the following week's show with me. Now, back to the show. All right, as always, we start with college football news first, and that is Mississippi State head coach Dan Mullen said, quote, "We're all responsible," when asked about what might happen if Jeffrey Simmons, a freshman defensive lineman who was shown on video multiple times punching a woman during a fight in March, and he makes another mistake. So, quote, "If that happens, all of us are responsible. But to be honest with you, I'm responsible for the actions of every one of my players. I'm responsible as a head coach. I can't be with them all the time." Now, Mullen called the decision to admit Simmons into the university a university decision. And when asked about the suspension, he said the same thing. The university decided on the amount of games and what his punishment was, which I have a hard time finding. I understand they're part of the process, but I have a hard time understanding that Dan Mullen wasn't a part of the punishment process, since it is, if you want to call it, his department, his player, his football player. And Jeffrey Simmons only received a 1-game suspension. He still faces misdemeanor simple assault charges from the fight and scheduled to appear in court July 26th. But I have a hard time understanding just a 1-game suspension, because I have the video on YouTube. So there's no reason, if you guys haven't seen it, I have it on there. Just search for it when it happened back in March. And if you have already seen it, you've seen it elsewhere. It was not like he just shoved a woman. It's not like he just punched her, which is not to be taken lightly I'm not saying that, but this guy continued to punch her. I mean, it was left, right, left, right, left, right. Yet only a 1-game suspension out of this. And I've talked about this before, so I won't go too much into it, but it's just, where do we draw the line in this, where we tell a player, hey, it's okay, you go punch a woman several times and be caught on video doing it. It's not like you can't tell it's him. You know it's him. And we're only going to suspend you for 1 game against a team that's like, what, South Alabama they're playing or something like that? I mean, really? 1 game. And that's it. Oh, he's going to go through a psychological thing, and he's going to have to go through community service. No. That is not enough. That's not, okay, oh, you learn your lesson, slap on the hand. No. You have to, I get it. You want to keep him in school because you want to make sure that he doesn't go on the wrong path, and you want to help him and whatnot. Fine. Enroll him into school. Take something away from him that he loves most, though. I think an absolute minimum punishment for what Jeffrey Simmons did should have been at least 6 games at the very minimum. And that's probably being too lenient at that. This guy several times punched a woman. I believe she was on the ground too after that, after he knocked her down. He punched her, while everybody else was just recording and watching it. No one else pulled him off. But still, that's not a university decision. And if that's the university decision for just 1 game, that shows you that the staff, the upper echelon of that university, is very clueless and very stupid. No disrespect to Mississippi State alums, but hey, it's not looking too good. That's not a good decision. So that's really it. But he also, Dan Mullen, went to be even more dumb and to say this, quote, hold on. He was on the topic of family, and Mullen was asked how he would feel if a member of his family, such as his wife or daughter, was the person who was punched. You know what he said? He said, quote, I don't think it would be my family. In the video, I don't know if my family would be in that situation, end quote. What? Yeah. So this is what the Mississippi State staff is like. And if any player is looking at Mississippi State, now is probably the time to just be like, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. I'm not going to Mississippi State because they have no control over their players. And so you're that confident that that wouldn't happen? Okay. What are you trying to say? That's the question. So, and then he was even pressed on the subject, and Mullen said, quote, honestly, I'm very strong against any violence. I think the video does not really define who that young man is. I would hate for anybody for their life to be defined by 10 seconds of a video, end quote. True, I'm not saying that he's just a straight up woman beater, but at the same time, this was a straight up brawl. I mean, he just kept punching her and punching her and punching her and punching her, punching her, punching her, punching her. I'm not saying his life has to be defined by it, but I'm saying the punishment that you gave him doesn't show that you're very strong in any violence, because in the end, he could have just said, all right, the university wants to just suspend him for one game. But I, as a head coach who is responsible for all these players and wants to set an example for incoming freshmen and everyone else across the country and to my family and everyone I know, that since I am so very strongly against any violence, I will push on this matter and add an additional 5-6 games on Jeffrey Simmons' suspension. That shows your commitment, that how strong you are against violence. Obviously, you're not too strong because you're just okay with the 1-game suspension and the little community service. That's just not enough. I'm sorry, it's not enough. And the university should be ashamed of themselves. Dan Mullen should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. His wife and daughter should be ashamed of Dan Mullen for not sticking to his word, not truly believing it. Because this is absolutely sickening and disheartening to see that a guy can walk on the campus, beat a woman, then walk on the campus, only be suspended for 1 game, and that's it. A little community service. Now, I'm not calling for him to get kicked out of school. Absolutely not. I believe that was a good thing to do, to keep him in school and have eyes on him and check on him and give him the resources to help him. But you have to give him a punishment. A 1-game suspension is not a punishment. Not at all. That does not teach a lesson whatsoever. So, that's all I got to say about that. Hugh Freeze says he has not spoken to former Ole Miss star Laremy Tunsil since the NFL draft, but he has received a letter from him. Freeze said Monday that about 3 weeks ago he received a letter from Tunsil. He was asked about what was in the message, and he said, quote, his sincere love for me. That's probably all I should say, end quote. And when he was describing the tone, he said, quote, there was a sweetness to it, but I knew that's who he was, and he's a good kid. He has a good heart, end quote. So obviously we know about the turmoil of Ole Miss program, and we've known about it before anything came down with the NCAA. And before the NFL draft, we all knew that there's no way you pull the number 1 offensive tackle, one of the top receivers, if not the top receiver in that class, and a star defensive end, all in the same class as an Ole Miss program. I'm sorry, you just do not have the history, nor were you good at that time to be pulling those 3-star talented caliber players in one class. It just doesn't happen without something bad happening. And I've never been to Mississippi, so I'm never going to judge what Ole Miss is like. But I know it's not better than Southern California. And I know it's not better than some of the cities in the state of Texas. And I know it's not better than Miami, Florida. All these guys had offers to those universities, and they chose Ole Miss. Ole Miss is not very prestigious, no disrespect again at all. And I know it's sounding bad with two Mississippi schools back-to-back and kind of bashing on them, but they all did something bad. Bad decisions were made. So, with all of that, you know, Hugh Freeze is trying to just figure out his program right now because they got caught. Everybody else does it. I know there's other universities and other schools, they pay their athletes, which in a way they should. But in a legal way, we should try to get this all legalized and whatnot with the NCAA. But he got caught. We all knew about it. And now he's just trying to figure out what we should do, what Ole Miss should do. But it's good that he's somewhat had communication with Larry Tunsil, and Tunsil's with him. Basically, and I'm sure that letter said, hey, I'm sorry about what all happened, but best of luck. I'm off to the NFL. Larry Tunsil, Laquan Treadwell, and Robert Kimdichie, they should not care what happens to Ole Miss now. They got their money, they got their playing time, and now they're all first-round picks. They're all in the NFL, and whatever happens in college is not going to come back to bite them. They may not get their number retired, whether that was up for discussion anyways, who knows? But they're out. They're getting their money. They're getting their life. And Hugh Freeze is left to either make the same mistake or try to change this program. Hugh Freeze did say that he received words of encouragement from many coaches, including Nick Saban of Alabama, Les Miles of LSU, Gus Malzahn of Auburn, and apparently Jim Grobe of Baylor. So that's cool. And I swear, this is not an all SEC college football show. I promise you that. Just happens to be more news. But this is, there's Texas A&M we got to talk about too. But new Georgia head coach Kirby Smart anticipated not having one of his star running backs available at the start of preseason camp, but he didn't expect both to be sidelined. Star tailbacks Nick Chubb and Sonny Michael will be limited when the Bulldogs begin full contact drills in preseason camp next month. The coach isn't sure how much either one of them will be available for the September 3rd opener against North Carolina in the Chick-fil-A kickoff game at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. As we all know, Sonny Michael or Mitchell, I'm sure it's Mitchell. There's no A or E for Michael. So Sonny Mitchell, we talked about it last week. He broke his arm on an ATV, his left forearm in an ATV accident. And he had surgery on July 4th. But he wasn't released from the hospital until last Friday. So now you're questionable with them. We already know about Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb was awesome last year. 1,500 yards as a freshman in 2014 and had 745 yards in the first 5 games of last season, but is still recovering from torn knee ligaments and cartilage damage in his left knee. He was able to participate in spring practice, but he was held out of all drills that involved any full contact, which is smart. You need to do that. Anyways, even if he felt ready to go, it was good to just, hey, we got to slow it down. This is what Kirby Smart said about Nick Chubb. Quote, the big thing with Nick is going to be live full contact tackling. He'll do pretty much everything in the first part of camp. He'll catch the ball and do the drills and a lot of thud work. The psychological part of going through the first tackling is going to be a big thing for him. We have people working with him on that aspect of it, which is smart. And Sonny Mitchell, he ran for 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns last season, which obviously majority of that came after Nick Chubb got hurt. So until Nick Chubb and Sonny Mitchell are fully available and ready to go, senior Brandon Douglas, sophomore Shakiri Wilson, and freshman Tate Crowder, Brian Hedren, and Elijah Holyfield are figuring to share the carries in preseason camp. At least you have some, but from right now, there's not another Nick Chubb and there's not another Sonny Mitchell. This guy's got to get healthy pretty quick for Georgia to get off on a good start. It's North Carolina. It's not going to be an easy game, and it's not a guaranteed victory for them. Baylor's lost their top returning wide receiver from last season, as he is scheduled to undergo arthroscopic surgery in his knee on Tuesday, and that is KD Cannon. If Cannon misses any time during the season, it would be another blow to the roster that endured a massive just takeaway, just all transfers, people just quitting, leaving because of the fallout Baylor's handling on the sexual assault allegations. And we'll talk about this in here in just a second, but Baylor interim coach Jim Grove recently acknowledged that the Bears are down to 70 scholarship players from the 85-man limit. They've lost 12 signees from this year's recruiting class, over half of what they signed. And that was last week, former sophomore quarterback Jarrett Stidham announced he's transferring from the school. So, KD Cannon, though, as a TCU fan, I don't like Baylor. What I've liked, them to get in trouble with something else and not, having people's lives being changed for worse with the sexual assault things. And I'm talking about the victims, not the people who actually did it. That sucks, and I would never wish that upon any school, whether they're a rival or not. But I wish something else bad happened to Baylor except for that, because it's just terrible. But with this, I do respect KD Cannon. I like KD Cannon, whether he likes TCU or not. I love his skill set, and I've watched him since he was a freshman, and he's awesome. He's awesome, and I just don't want him to be good when he plays us, of course. But Cannon finished 8th in the Big 12 in receiving last season with catching 57 receptions for 868 yards and 6 touchdowns. So losing him, and it's not known when he is going to be on the field. They say it's just a minor procedure, but his timetable of his return on the field is unknown. And if it misses any time, that's definitely not going to help. They have Seth Russell, but losing a lot of offensive linemen. They still have Shock Linwood, but the way this whole team has been, they can't afford to lose KD Cannon. They can't afford to lose him. So we'll just have to see how that goes. And with Jarrett Stidham, where he's going to go, a lot of people are saying that he's going to try to transfer to Texas, so he might go JC first, or just some community college in Waco, and not even play football this season, and then transfer to Texas, and then be able to have his 3 years of eligibility, because he would have already been at another school, so that Big 12 rule wouldn't work, where if he transfers to a Big 12 school, he loses a year of eligibility. He would have already been at another school and then transfer, or he can go FCS route, then transfer back if he wants to play football or something. I don't know. It's going to be crazy to see what happens with Baylor. I'm liking that Jarrett Stidham left. I hope he doesn't go to Texas. I really hope he doesn't go there, because that would not be a good thing. But it's crazy to see how Texas made all this room. Because if you remember back to National Signing Day, they got a lot of guys that they didn't think they were going to get on National Signing Day. A lot of players who were committed elsewhere switched and picked Texas. And they picked up a lot of people and got a lot of their scholarships, obviously given to those players. And then they get about, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 Baylor players transfer to Texas on scholarships. So how did they make room for all of this? Where did that come from? I know next year's class, or this upcoming year's class, the 2017 class, there's probably going to be about maybe 12 scholarships, 15 scholarships they have left. Maybe. But I don't know. I'm just saying we should be on the lookout, see if Texas is doing anything shady to get them on scholarship. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. I just want people to know. Last bit of college football news before we move over to the NFL, and that's Myles Garrett, who was already near the top of most NFL draft boards for the 2017 draft. And the Texas A&M junior defensive end wants that to stay that way. The SEC leader in sacks last year wasn't afraid to say that he wants to be the top overall pick, and so he's saying, I'm not staying for another year. I'm out this place. I'm out of College Station. I'm gonna go get my money, with my number one goal of this season being 20 sacks, and it's achievable with him. Myles Garrett, if you haven't watched tape on him, Ladies and gentlemen, it was down to A&M and TCU for Myles Garrett. We were so close to get him. He went to Arlington. I think it was Arlington Martin, because it was the same school that Devontae Fields went to, and Devontae Fields used to be with TCU before he got in trouble and TCU kicked him off. Devontae Fields is now at Louisville, and he should be a first rounder probably as well. But we were trying to get Myles Garrett to come over with us and say, hey, you can be with your teammate. If we had Myles Garrett and Devontae Fields, if Devontae cleaned up his act, and we had both of them on the ends, woo! I'm telling you, we would have not lost that game to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State would have been different. Our defense would have been okay if we had both of them. Might have had back-to-back national championships. It's that serious, and maybe that over-exaggerated. But Myles Garrett is legit. He is a real thing, and I hope that the Chargers suck even more next year. That way we get up there, and I hope we can get Myles Garrett and Joey Bosa on one side. Oh, my goodness. Would that be something? Well, first we have to sign Joey Bosa. Chargers still haven't even signed Joey Bosa yet. Anyways, back to this. Back to A&M. Back to Myles Garrett. Obviously, he chose A&M in the end. And if he can get 20 sacks, and it's still a couple games left into the season, well, if he can get 4 more, that would tie former Arizona State defensive end Terrell Suggs, who had 24 sacks in 2002. Now, sacks weren't official stat at the time, NCAA stat at the time, but former Alabama star Derek Thomas, he's accredited with 27 sacks in 1988. So, right now, obviously, Derek Thomas would have had the record, and maybe someone else if they had more, but it wasn't a stat at the time. So, the real stat is Terrell Suggs at 24 sacks. Myles Garrett is honestly the only player in the country of college in this country that could get that. That could get to 24. I think he can get 18, 19. I think I'm saying 17, 18 is probably a guarantee for him if he stays healthy throughout the whole season. I think that's a guarantee for him. And anything after that just shows how much of a great player he is. I mean, 17 and 18, that's a great player right there. Don't get me wrong. But to get to the 20 and get in there, possibly the 24, that's a great player. That's an elite player. I think Myles Garrett can get it. I believe he can get it. Garrett and the Aggies open the 2016 season against UCLA on September 3rd at Kyle Field. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the show, but I want to say first off, thank you for all of your support. Without you, I'd just be some guy talking to a microphone. And I got some amazing news. I recently joined Patreon. And in case you're wondering, Patreon is an amazing way for you to earn some sweet rewards by supporting the Short Sports Show. I promise you, you will love the perks, and your support will help build this show. Go to www.patreon.com/theshortsportshow and view the amazing rewards you would get directly from me to you by donating to the show. The link is in the description, so when you have some time, check it out. And again, thank you for listening and supporting the Short Sports Show. Now back to me rambling on about something. On to the NFL, and the 49ers will play the Rams in a regular season game in China in 2018, according to sources. It'll most likely serve as the Rams' home opener, although no date has been determined, sources said. In March, reports surfaced that the NFL wants to expand its international presence to China, and that the Rams were one of the teams selected to play there. It seems like the Rams they're just like that team where you just wash around. You just throw them anywhere. Throw them in just wherever. You guys got the point. I don't know what I was trying to say. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell later confirmed multiple teams had shown interest in playing in China. Now, NFL VP in Communications Brian McCarthy said, quote, "We have not announced the Rams opponent in the event we play a game there. We have said that we are exploring playing a game there, but nothing is definite. Any game in China would be subject to a league approval by the NFL owners and in October. So we'll find out here soon." I think it'd be kind of cool to play in China. I don't know. I'm just the guy who just rather just stay, even though we're going through a crazy time right now. I think I'd just rather just stay in my country, and the United States or Canada. That's really all I want to go. China's cool and all, but you got to think about it. You need a bye week before that game, and then you need a bye week afterwards because you got to get all ready, got to get the game plan ready, the whole practice stuff before the game, of course. And then coming back, you obviously need a bye week. You can't play the next week. It'll take too much on the body itself. I mean, these guys go through a lot. People don't understand flying from the West Coast to the East Coast or vice versa in 1 week and then playing another game the next week. That already takes a huge toll on the human body. For someone to play a game and in that same week go all the way to China, play a game, and then have a bye week, that takes a ton. Or vice versa, have a bye week, then go and play the game in China and then come back and play another game. That's killer. That's absolutely killer. So there needs to be, and I don't know how they're going to do it, but there has to be a bye week beforehand and a bye week afterwards. So maybe it is to start the season. You start that first game so that way you can get there earlier and have preseason end sooner. And then the next week, well, no, you can't do that because who's going to have a bye week 2 and then go and play 15 straight games after that? It's just, I don't know. They'll find a way, I guess, somehow. Pittsburgh Steelers outside linebacker James Harrison denied using performance-enhancing drugs in a sworn advocate. Harrison, who's 38 years old, appeared in 15 games for the Pittsburgh Steelers last season, notching 40 tackles, 5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. He's accumulated 76.5 sacks in his 13-year career. But he was accused of receiving Delta 2, which is a PED, in December. Al Jazeera America report by Charlie Sly, who has since recanted his story, but and obviously the main guy in there was Peyton Manning. But since then, even though he's recanted his story, the NFL requested an interview with Harrison, Peyton Manning, Green Bay Packers linebackers Julius Peppers and Clay Matthews, and free agent Mike Neal. So the NFL is saying, we're going to work, the NFL Players Association, we're going to help, we're going to work this out. We need to find a way. There's so much politics that goes into this stupid thing. It's really just like, all right, obviously the players are upset about this, but it's just like, all right, let's just get through it. But the NFL wants to play politics. The NFL Players Association wants to play politics, and it's just, guys, it's a simple thing. All right, obviously it's upsetting to be accused of cheating and taking PED use and all other crap, but let's just get it done. I think the players are at the point, like, let's just get it over with. Let's just do it. I'm tired of this. I don't want to have to go through this anymore. We'll see if they do it. Now, battling the NFL is nothing new for James Harrison. The veteran was famously ripped the NFL commissioner Roger Goodell in 2011 after he was fined over $100,000 in illegal hits. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Now, one of our main stories, is Buffalo Bills starting quarterback Tyrod Taylor. And he has a lot on his plate entering the 2016 season. Not only is Taylor an important piece to the Buffalo success, he's also playing the final year of his contract. Now, Taylor has a base salary of $3.1 million this season, which is a bargain for a lot of these starting quarterbacks. I mean, look at it. Case Keenum, $3.6 million right now. Mark Sanchez, $4.5 million. Sam Bradford, $7 million. And Colin Kaepernick, $11.9 million. They all have higher salaries without the type of production Taylor had last season. Now, Taylor, he threw for 3,035 yards, 20 touchdowns, and had a 99.4 passer rating in his first year as a starter. Another quality season could lead to a sizable payday in 2017. However, Taylor is keeping his focus on the field with training camp set to begin later this month. Quote, "The contract situation will play out. My mindset is to go out there and win games. Do whatever it takes to win games, lead the guys, and be a leader on the field, off the field, and a commander. But I'm not necessarily focused on the contract. I can't control that. I've always been the one that focuses on the things I can control. And that's going to be my preparation and how I go out there and play. I'll let everything else take care of itself." Smart. Everything he said right there, perfect, smart. Now, obviously, Buffalo, they're on a 16-year drought of postseason victories. Taylor was only 10 years old when the Music City Miracle happened, when Buffalo Bills lost to the Tennessee Titans. Now, last season, Taylor went 8-6 as a starter and believes his 2016 Bills have the potential to be even better. Quote, "Yes, we're definitely positive in the locker room. We want to be the ones that change that mindset. The community is definitely ready for something to happen as far as a playoff run, and I think we have the talent to do so." Now, Taylor has an interesting story. He waited 4 years for his opportunity to become a full-time starter. He was a sixth-round draft pick to the Baltimore Ravens in 2011 out of Virginia Tech, where he set a lot of records and did amazing things at Virginia Tech. And I absolutely loved watching him at Virginia Tech. But and when he got to Baltimore, obviously he served as a backup to Joe Flacco, and he got a lot of playing time, of course, in preseason, and sometimes when they had, I guess, garbage time in the NFL, he came in and he did pretty well. Taylor says he's thankful to have gotten a Super Bowl ring in just his second year, but his goal is to lead his own team to the big game as a starting quarterback. And defending NFL MVP Cam Newton also provides an interesting blueprint for Taylor. Now, both were drafted the same year and provide dual threats as mobile quarterbacks. And Taylor said he's developed a rapport with Newton over the years, and the Carolina Panthers quarterback career trajectory has inspired Taylor. Quote, our skill sets are similar. Do I believe I can be the potentially an MVP? I definitely have confidence in my game, but I just got to take it one game at a time. I definitely see the growth from last year into the spring. I just got to continue to take the steps forward and perfect my game, end quote. And I hope he does. I am supporting Tyrod Taylor all the way. Obviously, it's going to be tough in the AFC, but this is the window of opportunity for the Buffalo Bills to get into the playoffs and potentially win a playoff game. I mean, if you look at the AFC, right now, the AFC South is all jacked up. We don't know too much about the Jaguars, if they're absolutely ready this year to take it, or are they still a year or two away from really being playoff contenders? The Colts, can they stay healthy? Can the offensive line be there for Andrew Luck? Can the defense step up? The Houston Texans, do they have the offense to do it? And is the defense going to be reliable and healthy enough to get it done? Titans are out. The AFC North, you already know you're going to have at least two teams from the AFC North make the playoffs. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Cincinnati Bengals, possibly the Baltimore Ravens. Patriots are going to make it, of course. And then the AFC East, you have the Bills and the Jets. One of them can only make it. And the AFC West, the Chiefs are there. The Raiders are getting better. Are they ready to take that step? And you have the Broncos and possibly the Chargers if they can get their act together. So it's going to be tough to find that playoff spot without really beating the New England Patriots and getting through them. See how it gets done. But I hope so. I hope Tyrod Taylor can be that quarterback. I hope he can get a solid contract and stay with the Buffalo Bills and be their starting quarterback. But we'll just have to see. The Dallas Cowboys have spoken to Justin Durant about signing with the team. The Cowboys lacked depth at that position with starter Rolando McClain suspended for the first 10 games of the 2016 season. And the team's defense has been decimated by suspensions this offseason with edge rushers Randy Gregory and DeMarcus Lawrence are both suspended for the first 4 games of the season. Now, Durant might be a familiar name, and that's for good reason. He spent 2 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys from 2013 to 14, notching 73 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and an interception in 16 total games. He played for the Atlanta Falcons last season and racked up 82 tackles, a forced fumble in 13 games, but the team released him in February. So his main concern is just injuries. He's missed 19 games over the past 3 seasons, but when he's on the field, he's a very productive player, as you see with the stats each time. He would potentially give the Cowboys a solid replacement for McClain, at least in certain packages on the field. At this point, Durant is not going to be the guy who's going to be on the field on, he's not the greatest coverage guy. He's just more of your normal average linebacker. Because right now, the Cowboys only have Anthony Hitchens, Andrew Kachkar, sounds like a freaking Pokemon, and Mark Zinjovic. That's it. That's all they got. for the Dallas Cowboys. Speaking of Pokemon Go, we didn't talk about it. Yes, I uploaded a Pokemon Go video to YouTube. Because I was raised on Pokemon, ladies and gentlemen. That was the only cartoon I watched. That and SpongeBob. That was it. I didn't watch all those other little kitty cartoons and all the other stuff. I was more interested in kind of older things. And I mean, I know SpongeBob isn't older, but and Pokemon isn't either. But I wasn't interested in anything else. It was really Pokemon, SpongeBob, and wrestling. That was it. That was my childhood. Until I got older and got into sports, and then sports is taking over. But, so when this game happened and created, I had to get it. So, I'm having fun with it. I don't care. I'm not dumb enough to be driving and playing Pokemon at the same time. I'm also not dumb enough to be walking straight in the middle of the road and just looking at my phone the whole time, even though it has a camera so you see everything. No, it's just, I'm not that stupid. I'm aware of my surroundings. I'm aware of where I'm going. I'm not going anywhere at middle of the night trying to get killed. And I'm not, doing anything stupid. I'm just playing the game like an average person and just having a little bit of fun. And I'm recording. So, oh well. All right, moving on. In the first season without Marshawn Lynch since 2009, the Seattle Seahawks will have their new lead back ready for the start of training camp. Thomas Rawls finished the 2015 season on injured reserve after fracturing his ankle in the Week 14 matchup with the Baltimore Ravens. Head coach Pete Carroll said he expected him to be healthy by Week 1 of the regular season, but the 22-year-old running back is planning to return even earlier. And his teammate Richard Sherman at teammate Richard Sherman's charity softball event Sunday, Rawls said he'll, quote, most definitely, end quote, be at full strength for the beginning of the Seahawks training camp July 30th. Quote, rehab is going phenomenal. Running, cutting, working hard, getting back out there. I'm looking forward to being out there for the first week. Rehab has been going phenomenal this whole off season. I don't have a break because I got to work 10 times harder. So I'm excited to come back and fill that void in the backfield, end quote. Now, Rawls is expected to be the starting back next season after starting 7 games as a rookie, though he'll be joined by a trio of running backs added to by the draft. The second-year runner registered 830 yards on 147 attempts with 5 total touchdowns last season. I believe he can improve and get back up there and take that starting role, but I really believe the Seattle Seahawks are going to go have a running back by committee. They're just going to see whoever floats the boat against that defense and go with it. Alex Collins, I believe, can be a very good player and do work and have a lot of playing time. The rookie out of Arkansas. CJ Prosise, they're going to use him a ton in third down and screens and catching out of the backfield. And he's also a pretty solid runner. He's very quick and elusive. Thomas Rawls is not very quick. He's I'm not saying he's not fast, but he's kind of your Marshawn Lynch. He's Mini Beast. Thomas Mini Beast Rawls. So, they got some other guys. Christian Michael's still there. So, do I see an over 1,000 yards rushing for Thomas Rawls? Most likely not. A lot of these guys are going to have 300, 400, 500 rushing yards, and that's because they're going to have 3 or 4 running backs that all have that. And it's all going to add up to the same somewhat production that Marshawn Lynch gave. It's just going to have fresher backs, and maybe that helps even more. Maybe you now have an offense, and maybe it's easier to game plan it, knowing that you've got 3 or 4 running backs that can easily do a really good job and get this offense team, pushing and doing the right thing. So maybe it's not going to be too much, pressure on Russell Wilson. He's still going to be able to do things and maybe open up the playbook a little bit more. Who knows? Last bit of news here is really all about the Browns. That's crazy. I just now realized that. Chad Johnson, former Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver, is now coaching with the Browns wide receiving corps. It's not a full-time job. It's not a full-time position, but they are helping out. He's going to have his presence is going to be there, and he's going to be helping out the team. So whether that goes anywhere further than this season, who knows? But it should help out because the Cleveland's entering the 2016 season with a lack of experience, and at least 4 rookies could be in position to challenge for starting roles. It's not good for the Browns. Defensive end Desmond Bryant is expected to miss the entire 2016 season after undergoing surgery Tuesday to repair a torn pectoral muscle. He did pretty well last season, led the Browns in career-high 6 sacks last season, and started all 41 games he's appeared in over 3 seasons with Cleveland. So, another loss for the Browns, which is not good. And also, but what is good is Isaiah Crowell. He apologized for a social media post that his reaction that happened after the 2 shootings to the black man by the police, and he said Tuesday that it was an extremely poor decision when he posted a hooded individual putting what looks like a machete to the throat of a police officer. Now, he said that not only will he apologize, he's going to show that what he did was wrong, and that he even said, quote, of course, I didn't put it on here. He says, I didn't want to be a part of the problem. So that was the main thing he said. By posting that picture, I became part of the problem. I don't want to be part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution. To back that up, my first game check is going to the Dallas Fallen Officers Foundation, which is really nice and really good. And just the overall good thing, because what's all happened, and we are not going to get into the politics. I know I've been tweeting a lot about it, and I won't get into it. I won't get into it. I view everyone as God's children. We're all created in God's image, and that's the way I view things, and that's the way my family view things, and that's the way my future kids will view things. It's common sense, really, to just view everyone equally. It just doesn't happen. Not everyone does it. Doesn't mean that it won't ever happen. I mean, it will at some point. We're going to be forced to, or bad things are going to happen. So that's all we'll really say about it. But obviously, the 7 people that lost their lives, we will have a moment of silence for them. What's up? I've got some amazing news. You can now buy the Short Sports Show apparel on Teespring. That's right. I have 2 different designs up already, and they're amazing, and I love them, and I know you guys will love them too. Hurry now, as these shirts are only up for a certain number of days, and then they're gone. My goal is to sell at least 50 of each design, and the more they sell, the longer they're available. So help me make that happen. Teespring is a platform that makes it easy for anyone to create and sell high-quality products that people love with no cost or risk. So go to www.teespring.com/stores/The Short Sports Show today, and after you make your purchase, tweet the show for a chance to be on the following week's show with me. Now, back to the show. All right, and we will now move over to the NBA, and the Kevin Durant aftershocks are quieting down. We understand now. So it's time to look at some of the early losers and winners of the NBA free agency. So obviously the winner, we're going to go to the Golden State Warriors. Now, they got Kevin Durant. They lost a couple of other guys, but they got Kevin Durant and Seth Curry. That's all we're going to say. They're winners. Losers, though, are the Los Angeles Lakers, my team. They really made some bad decisions. They signed Timothy Mozgov, who is about to turn 30. He's coming off a knee surgery that ruined his season. And the Lakers rushed out of the gates with an offer that nearly equaled or was over what Ian Mahami, Azeli, and Bismack Biyombo, and a lot of other guys got who could have really worked out, and we could have got Azeli, who I would have loved to have. Fetus Azeli, but we got Mozgov, a guy who I don't know, not good at all. Obviously, Kevin Durant wasn't going to come over to the Lakers, and we're just in that. Luol Deng is a good move. We have a very young roster, and I think there could have been just a little bit better signings than what we got. Overpaid on a few players. Another loser is the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs obviously were not able to get Kevin Durant. They did get Paul Gasol, which is pretty good, but is that enough to really take down the Warriors? Now you don't have to worry about Oklahoma City. The Thunder are gone. You don't have to worry about them. You can beat them in a series now. But Golden State never feared the Spurs. Even after losing in San Antonio in March, Golden State players chanted in the locker room about how the Spurs posed no threat to them in the 7-game series, according to several team sources. San Antonio has never been able to score against these Warriors, and Gasol's, he just doesn't have the game to really put up enough points and answer against the Golden State Warriors. Tony Parker is 34 years old, and the Spurs weren't able to find anybody to really help him out. The Spurs set the template for defending the Golden State, but they might not be able to hold them off and be able to score enough, especially with Tim Duncan's retiring, which absolutely sucks. The Spurs probably know that they can't beat the Warriors without some injury luck. They try to get Durant. Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Danny Green is a really good start, but is that enough to really get through the Golden State Warriors? And I'm not saying the Warriors are going to go 82-0, or they might not even win the 73 games, but this is the number one team in NBA basketball right now, even after losing to the NBA championship to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are now the number one team. But maybe Greg Popovich, maybe they think of something. Greg, did I say just Greg Popovich? Coach Pop, if they can come up with something, maybe they'll have an answer, but not looking too good right now. Winners are the Utah Jazz. It is time for Utah to rise up into its power. No, I'm just kidding. But the Jazz, seriously, they wanted to do a lot of things, and they did. They were able to flip their first-round pick in 2015 for a George Hill type with multiple seasons left on his deal. But getting Hill now in his final season of his contract is a fine compromise, especially since Utah still has cap room to offer him a contract extension. They got a young team. They got some hope. Utah took Golden State to the wire in their first matchup last season, and they've been itching ever since to show that they got it, that they can give the Warriors some trouble, which is kind of shocking. Now, bear with me here because this is kind of interesting. Rudy Gobert said, quote, "We almost beat them. Just like they made a threat of small ball, we have to make them a threat of playing two big men. They have to box me out, and they have to guard Derek Favors in the post." Quote, Joe Johnson provides a pretty, good veteran and a guy who can contribute to the team very quickly. They got Boris Diaw now. They could go in there, so maybe they can get something. And they saved a lot of money for the 2017 NBA free agency, where they can go after, a few other guys. Hayward is set to be a free agent next summer, and he's going to be right up there with Russell Westbrook, Blake Griffin, and a few others. Maybe the Jazz can get something done and bring a player in or two. Losers. And that's the 2017 free agency. Now, teams spent more than expected, and as a result, the league lowered its projection for the 2017-18 cap number from 107 to 102 million. Now, the average player salary should leap from $6 million to $8 million, which is going to be good. But for people, Russell Westbrook, Blake Griffin, a few of those other guys that will be free agents in 2017, not really good for them because there's not going to be that much more money left over. It's going to be interesting to see that. So more than 13 years later, Jason Kidd still wonders how many championships he could have won feeding the ball to Tim Duncan in San Antonio. Now, Jason Kidd goes on to repeat himself a lot about having nightmares and being disappointed that he didn't end up signing with the San Antonio Spurs when he was a free agent. He decided to stay in New Jersey, and he signed a 6-year, $103 million deal to stay with the Nets. But obviously, that became some issues with new ownership and not working everything out. Quote, "I thought I was going to be a Spur. I committed when I was down there on my visit to San Antonio. On my flight home, I think I got cold feet, and sometimes I have nightmares about that. Maybe I could have won a championship or two there, but I got real lucky with Dallas and won the championship, end quote. Now, he won that when he was I completely forgot he was with the Dallas Mavericks in 2011. Excuse me. But he keeps wondering, could he have won more? But it's kind of interesting to see how things went out, because he says that, but how would the Spurs have reacted with Tony Parker? They both played the same position, and with Tony Parker's skill set, I'm not saying Tony Parker was better than Jason Kidd, but it comes to a point where it's like, okay, would Tony Parker have even been on the team afterwards? Would they have just kept Kidd? Because they would have to give Kidd almost the same amount of deal, the same amount of money that he got with New Jersey. So that's pretty interesting to see how that would have worked out. But in the end, obviously he chose to stay with the Nets and still wonders. But obviously the saddest news, and we'll wrap up with this. San Antonio Spurs head coach Greg Popovich waxed poetic 15 minutes Tuesday about the retirement of arguably the greatest power forward to ever play the game, and plans to make a pitch to Duncan to keep him working with the organization in some capacity in the future. Duncan announced his retirement on Monday, but wasn't present for Tuesday's news conference. Quote, "It's not the show of humility in any sense or form. People who grew up with me, who know me, I would not be standing here if it wasn't for Tim Duncan. I'd be in the Budweiser League someplace in America, fat and still trying to play basketball or coach basketball. Over the years and never said a word, just came to work every day. Came early, stayed late, was there for every single person from the top of the roster to the bottom of the roster because that's who he was in all of those respects." Sources told ESPN that the Spurs officially waived Duncan on Monday for salary cap reasons. While the move was a mere formality, the club needed to do it in a waive and stretch Duncan's $6.4 million salary for the 2016 season so that it was spread out over 3 seasons instead of just one, which lessens the cap hit for the team that they will take. Now, Duncan exercised his player option for the upcoming season before the July 29th deadline, which means he'll receive his full guaranteed salary for the upcoming season despite retiring. It's basically, people look like, oh, he's just trying to get money and he's not even going to play. Think about what Duncan has given to the NBA. What he's given, obviously, to the city of San Antonio and the Spurs organization is without a doubt one of the best. So, the Spurs, it's not like it was just a player retiring and they're like, man, we still got to pay this guy. What Duncan has given to the Spurs is worth more than $6.4 million for the last 3 years. So, and Popovich said it best. He's irreplaceable. It can't happen. Popovich said Duncan is too smart to try his hand at coaching in retirement, but he plans to reach out to the former Spur to keep him involved in some capacity. Quote, "I don't think we're going to see Timmy going up and down the sidelines much, but I have a notion he will at least listen to being involved somehow or other, maybe even on a part-time basis. I'm certainly going to hit him with everything I have to keep him around here as long as I possibly can because he means that much to everyone in the organization." Absolutely. When Duncan officially announced he was retiring, man, very upsetting. It just... I'm glad I was able to see him, though. I'm glad I was able to see him when the Spurs had won the championship. They had the celebration. I was out there, and that was a whole lot of fun being out there. Even though I'm a Lakers fan, I still love Timmy Duncan. It's just going to suck not seeing him out there. I was hoping to give it one more go. And I honestly think he would have done it had Kevin Durant sign with the Spurs. I think he would have stayed one more year. I think that's almost a guarantee would have stayed. But knowing that he wasn't and maybe just saying, look, it's still questionable, it's probably why he gave up. And I mean, he's in good shape as far as we know. We know he's in good shape, so he's just like, might as well just keep it that way. So hopefully he sticks around with the San Antonio Spurs in some capacity. Obviously, they're going to retire his number hopefully very soon. Hopefully they're able to do it this season. and retire number 21 because obviously it definitely deserves. And maybe LaMarcus Aldridge, he lives up. You know, if it was Dave Robinson and David Robinson to Timmy D, and maybe now it's Timmy D to LaMarcus Aldridge. We'll see. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, share it with your friends and family on Facebook, Twitter, all the social media. Whether you listen on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker.com, Stitcher Radio, what else we got? YouTube, SoundCloud, wherever you're listening. Thank you guys so much. As always, God first, God bless, and I will see you guys next Wednesday. I'm out. Peace.